As energy costs rise and supply chains face new pressures, Filipino farmers, not just consumers, are feeling the strain. In Baguio City, one family is working to uplift them with a goal of reaching 100,000 sustainable and debt-free farmers by 2030. Rural Rising Philippines connects farmers directly to communities. Leading the movement is co-founder Ace Estrada. This is where advocacy begins. I'm Rochelle Rubio, and this is The Advocates, Empowering Voices. In an archipelago where food travels across islands and supply chains are shaped by distance and disruption, the story of the Filipino farmer is one of resilience under pressure. 6 years ago, reports of vegetables being thrown away or given out for free circulated on social media. Farmers had produce, but no access to buyers. In Baguio City, one family chose to act. What began as a simple response to a pressing need soon grew into something more, a movement that would connect farmers directly to communities and bring fresh food closer to Filipino homes. What is Rural Rising Philippines, or RURI? Co-founder Ace Estrada shares their story.
Rural Rising is an organic grassroots effort to help distressed Filipino farmers get back on their feet so they can once again feed the nation with pride. Yun ang lagi namin sinasabi when they ask us what Rural Rising is. It's essentially a group that intervenes in the problems of the farmers by using practical solutions sa marketing, sa logistics, para walang masayang na produce. Para yung mga gulay na binabarat ng middleman or hindi lang mabenta sa tamang presyo, we can buy them, rescue them, bring them to Manila, and then distribute them to consumers who actually need rescuing too. Dito kasi sa Manila, vegetables are so expensive that to sell the produce at half the price of supermarkets is actually a lifesaver for many Metro Manila consumers.
Ace describes Rural Rising Philippines as an accidental advocacy born out of the need to address a gap that would benefit both farmers and consumers.
We wrote an article on Facebook about vegetables being given away in our home city of Baguio. So the middlemen or buyers were not able to go up to Baguio City because of pandemic restrictions, and the farmers were not able to leave the different towns that lead to La Trinidad and Baguio. Nagtatapon sila. And those that do make it to market, they're not able to find buyers, so they're giving the produce away. We wrote an article about it and we said free at a very high cost. The cost is that one of the farmers killed himself out of embarrassment or shame. Hindi niya makabayad ng utang. So that's the cost of getting vegetables free. And when we wrote it like that, with that picture, nag-viral. And people said, bring the vegetables to Metro Manila and we will buy them. We begged and cajoled and rented a truck from the Benguet provincial government. We were able to bring down 3 tons of vegetables from Benguet. In 30 minutes, we were able to sell that. It was like a minor miracle na people would actually buy 100 kilos MOQ of vegetables from a truck in EDSA. So grabe yung parang food insecurity at that time. So that was the first miracle. The second miracle was that farmers in Baguio City and Benguet were like talking about what happened, that there's a family in Baguio who can buy the produce and pay immediately. And they were talking about us. And they started reaching out to us and sending us pictures and videos. Patulong po sa mga gulay namin. And then when we started sharing these pictures and videos and writing stories about the farmers, about people in Manila continued wanting to buy vegetables. So starting with the first truck, naging 2 trucks, 3 trucks, and before we knew it, we're moving tons of produce down in Metro Manila during the height of a pandemic. So it was just so accidental.
It marked a turning point for Ace and his family as they stepped in to bridge the gap between farmers and consumers in a win-win solution. And despite having no background in agriculture or marketing, Rural Rising Philippines continues to rise.
I'm not a marketing person. We're business owners. We're actually teaching coding bootcamp in Baguio City. We have a co-working space where we nurture yung mga startups at sa mga small business owners and how they could build their business. My job is to create collisions wherein pinag-uusap namin yung people who could potentially help each other and create something together. I'm more like a community builder, and I like writing and reading. So we simply applied the stories that we heard about the farmers' difficulties into capsulated forms. Sa dulo niya, mayroong call to action, usually the order form. And people responded to this. Siguro they found that hindi ka lang nakakatulong sa farmer, nakakuha ka pa ng gulay. Wala kang donor fatigue, kumbaga. So this became our formula of helping. We are more than a merchant of vegetables. We are a merchant of stories. People love a good story, especially if the stories are feel good and if it's about helping farmers. Take them through the different emotions. Galit, so they take action. Lungkot, saya. You really go through it because in the end, you really feel for the condition of the farmers. And if you share that, people connect to that. And we're not so helpless. It's a pandemic, but we can do something. Keep our families healthy to buy healthy vegetables, but still give the farmers a good price. Win-win, kumbaga. Di ba?
The challenge is complex, keeping food affordable while ensuring farmers earn more than enough to survive. Because production costs continue to rise while farm gate prices remain unstable.
We're selling at least half of supermarket price. So talagang sobrang affordable yung gulay and we make sure it's fresh. I think we're the only one that also gives warranty on the gulay. If you're not happy, we'll just simply replace. We're happy to give that. Kung wala yung gulay na binili mo, we'll give you something else. As you know, we always try to pay the farmers double the farm gate price. And because there are 9 layers of middlemen between that farmer and the buyer, we essentially bring the produce directly to the buyer, eliminating those layers of middlemen. The prices are kept low. So your question of how we are able to survive, we're a nonprofit. So we add 5 pesos for trucking, 5 pesos for dispatch, 10 pesos on the cost of the farmer that we pay the farmer. Okay na yun. Everyone wins na. And we're able to survive on that 10 pesos.
These fruits and vegetables make their way to communities by trucks. Ace shares the story of how they got their first truck donation.
We have received donations of trucks. There was a time I cried on national television when a famous broadcaster asked what we needed. Kailangan nyo ba ng truck? He said, and I said, oh my God, trucks, that's what we need. Kung sino magpapahiram sa amin, we would gladly return it pag kailangan nyo. And the owner of United Auctioneers was on the radio riding his car when he heard that. Within 15 minutes, he told the announcer, the station, I'm gonna donate the truck to Rural Rising. When I heard that, they called me back. I cried because to be on the receiving end of kindness, I'm always giving. I'm always doing that with the farmers and they cry on me. But to be on the receiving end of kindness yourself, ganun pala ang feeling. It's overwhelming. It's powerful. Ang daming mabait na tao. So we were given our first truck. We now have 6 right now, a small, humble fleet of rescue trucks.
Agriculture employs millions, yet many farmers remain economically vulnerable. So where and how does Rural Rising Philippines source the produce it brings to communities and sells at least half the price of supermarket goods?
Our farmers call us. So every day we receive at least 10 requests for help, either in text or call or videos. And we choose which one we can help first, yung kaya. Hindi ba masyadong malayo? Hindi ba masyadong mahirap? Meron bang ability ang group mag-absorb ng 2 tons of this produce or that? So there, we're mainly focused in Luzon, but we're reaching Visayas, we're reaching Mindanao. We're talking about salt from Mindoro, mangoes from Guimaras, onions from Mindoro pa rin, white mango from Mindanao, ano pa, Adlay. So we're reaching far and wide, but mainly focused on Northern Luzon.
In the traditional supply chain, where middlemen can take a significant cut, leaving farmers with lower earnings and consumer with higher prices, Ace shares his perspective.
We're not demonizing middlemen. We need a middleman system na doon pupunta ang farmers. But we also are wishing na they could be regulated. There's a regulation, which means that they cannot price to the farmers below the cost to grow. Ibig sabihin, hindi dapat baratin ng farmers. That should be some way illegal. And if this happens, then the farmers will always get an income for what they produce. It should be a career choice for farmers, for young farmers or children of farmers to go into farming. Na they know na if they go into farming, may kita. So if that happens, then there would be a more stabilized pricing for the produce sa farm gate side.
Middlemen are recognized as part of the supply chain and even provide market access and logistics for farmers. But while traders are part of the agricultural supply chain, gaps in oversight and pricing transparency often leave farmers vulnerable and can allow practices that disadvantage farmers.
Merong price ceiling on how much you can sell a produce. You cannot sell it too high. But there's nothing that's regulating how much you can pay a farmer. So it can be 2, 3, 5 pesos for cabbage for a farmer, and the farmer has no choice but to take it or leave it. And sometimes it's the same price everywhere. So the farmers are always at a disadvantage regardless of their cost to grow.
In many instances, farmers often have a little control over pricing. That decision is often made by middlemen who dictate buying prices.
Ordinarily, farmers ang dapat magsabi, this is the price I want for my cabbage or for my melons or whatever they have, because they know their cost to grow. They should pay themselves for their labor going to work every day like a profession. But hindi po. So when we go to a farmer and they sell us their produce, the first question they ask us, kayo po, magkano po ang gusto ninyo? So we say, magkano ang presyo? Kayo po, magkano po kuha nyo? There was never a farmer that would say, gusto ko po 20 pesos per kilo, 50. So it's a very uncomfortable decision. It's tempting for us to name our price, but we don't. And we come back with the question, saan ka masaya? Anong presyo masaya ka na may kita ka na? And sometimes they tell us a price that's still very low, and we say, sige, ito yung ibabayad namin. And they're so happy because never has there been a buyer na parang ganon was able to pay more kahit hindi nila hinihingi.
With its growing reach, rural Rising Philippines now has a wide market for its fruits and vegetables. Some buyers go a step further, donating the produce to their chosen charities, communities, and even animal shelter. What began as an effort to support farmers has since sparked a ripple of generosity across the country.
Rural Rising as a market, we're now 50,000 strong with 300,000 followers then. So if we tell the story properly, we know that the market is going to buy it because, they're not buying the ampalaya or the talong. They're buying the opportunity to help. Ibig sabihin, kahit anong binibenta namin, basta we tell them who the farmer is and where we get it, they're happy to get whatever. Or here's the most amazing part, or get nothing at all. They would tell us, Ace, Andy, gusto namin i-donate yung produce. So they pay for produce that they intend to donate to. So parang ang galing lang, it gives us the power to also choose animal shelters or hungry communities like Barangay Tatalon and say, or right now, community pantries for drivers, gusto niyo po ng cabbage. And then they would say, sige po, ilan po? They would think 10 kilos. Kaya niyo po mag-absorb ng 200 kilos, 300? And they just go hit the floor and say, talaga po? Like, sobrang naubusan kami sa pantry kahapon. 200 kilos? And it's just so amazing what that power brings. Nabigay ng membro sa amin.
Rural Rising Philippines aims to support thousands of farmers nationwide. How many are they currently reaching?
Sa may farmer cluster na puro mga mais, may cluster puro sibuyas, bungabon, mais villasis, may mga ampalaya farmers, so mga clusters yan. Repolyo, syempre, cauliflower, in Ilocos. So we're working with more or less 4,500 farmers.
Behind every statistic is a story. Ace recounts how rural rising Philippines helped change the life of one farming family.
When you buy from a farmer and you buy continuously at the right price, talagang nag-change. There's this family of farmers, mais in Villasis, where they live in a hovel. Wala silang bahay, mag-asawa, may anak. And they're living in a hovel, yung floor nila is earth. Yung CR nila sa may puno, walang running water, and they have a tarpaulin for a roof. Really very poor. And then by continuously buying from them, they were actually able to build a house. Hollow block, hindi pa tapos, but hollow block na. Mayroon siyang sahig na semento. So we call it the house that Ruri built, and I have videos of that. Sabi niya, dahil sa Ruri, ito yung bahay na ipatayo namin. Or another farmer says, dahil po sa pagtulong sa magulang ko, ako na po ay isang ganap na guro. Nakapag-graduate na siya, nagtuturo na siya sa elementary school. You see, you see stories like that, meet farmers like that, and you know you're on the right track. They're not asking for much. They just want to send children to school, to build a better house that will not fall in the first typhoon. And they deserve it so much na sila rin ang mga tambuhay from the fruits of their labor. So many stories that we share with our community, and it gives us really the indication that what we're doing is the right thing.
Yet the challenges of the Filipino farmers remain deeply rooted and multifaceted.
Well, it's the same challenge that they have many years ago during the pandemic. It's always marketing support. Farmers are not able to find the buyers, whether face to face or online. It's a skill to find buyers and do it continuously. So that's their first problem, which Fleur is trying to help. Second is what to do with their produce pag hindi mabenta. They've been called many names, unsavory names, for not being able to create tomato paste or ketchup with their tomatoes, tinatapon nila. Or not create jams with their strawberries, tinatapon nila. So their challenge is their ability to produce this, to get FDA, to get proper training on how na hindi masira yung produce when they become bottled products. And finally, again, a marketing challenge. All of these are the challenges of our farmers. So right now, in the face of yung pagtaas ng crudo, yung prices ng gasolina, double challenge na ulit. They wait for a time na sabay-sabay sila mag-harvest, nag-overproduction tuloy. They minimize their use of gasoline sa kanilang mga water pumps. So, sometimes they abandon na lang their rice fields kasi walang pambili ng crudo para mag-pump ng water into their fields. Or sometimes hindi na nag-fertilizer ng maayos kasi fertilizer is a byproduct or derivative ng petroleum. So, ano nangyayari? Stunted plants. So the challenges are many, and I am not even starting to imagine na palapit na ang typhoon season. Whether may problema tayo sa gasolina or not, the typhoon is upon us, 20 every year. And I cannot imagine the added difficulties on top of these difficulties pag dumating ang isang malakas na bagyo. So farmers will stop planting because there's little hope of a return. Lagot tayo if our farmers start doing that. Then there'll be hunger, diba? So what we can do as a nation really is to support them to buy local and to be more accepting of ugly produce kasi this only means na they're locally grown. For us not to waste food, diba? And then to be more aware na the more you buy local, then the better, the more you're helping our country, especially our farmers. So marami tayong pwedeng gawin. And syempre, what Rural Rising is doing is not unique. There's some happiness to doing it. And that's what you're paying for. That satisfaction na nakatulong ka. That is priceless. It keeps you young and makes you happy.
When supply exceeds demand, the result is often waste. How does Rural Rising Philippines manage unsold fruits and vegetables from its pop-up markets?
It goes to the community pantries right now. It goes to animal rescue shelters. We're supporting so many. And then, of course, the hungry communities. And then we've started creating vegetable stock paste. So we have makina na ngayon that we can convert it into parang condiments, right? And then kimchi and sauerkraut, jams. Walang masasayang actually. If you take let's say, a cauliflower or broccoli, all parts are edible, including the leaves. So at the very, very least, we can give them to the zoos. We've given to Malabon Zoo. So all parts of the vegetables are unusable. Ayan. No vegetable goes to waste. So, we're lucky na maraming pwedeng tumanggap and the members actually support that.
What innovations keep Rural Rising Philippines thriving and resilient? Ace talks about Harvest of Hope and how this community-supported agriculture model is helping change lives.
Sa amin, can't say we're very innovative. What we're doing is not unique. If there's something unique about Rural Rising Siguro, it's the membership. We have created a group or a base of buyers. And to this base of buyers, we sell the stories. And on these stories, they react. And then we see the reaction and it tells us where to go. It's like an organism that's alive. And it's very unique because suddenly we don't have vegetables and look for buyers until we have the buyers and we look for vegetables that they need. Does that make sense? Suddenly we can go to the farmers and say, let's plant for something called Harvest of Hope, which means that it's like a basic subscription every month. And we go to companies and say, could you help your employees kind of weather this crisis and subscribe them to 400 pesos per month? And then we're going to have our farmers plant for you every month. But however, it's going to be a sort of a surprise basket. So you don't know what you're going to get every month. It could be pineapple, watermelon, it could be sibuyas, it could be salt, it could be rice, it could be sardinas. And you open it and there's an explanation of what's inside and who you're helping every month. So it becomes kind of gamified for the subscriber. The company is able to do a very proper CSR. The farmers are able to plant, not worrying kung saan mapupunta. Really becomes a conduit for that. So you see, that's called Harvest of Hope. And our goal is to become the biggest biggest platform for something called community supported agriculture, because this is what it is by a different name. Japanese actually put the pictures of the farmers on the boxes. And that's a very noble way of letting people know who grow your food. But here we can't. We're still at the parang rescue buy phase. But if you go to our office in West Triangle, our walls are full of faces of farmers and their stories. And it's like a museum of helping. And people point to the pictures and say, tumulong ako dyan, cabbage. O, tumulong ako dyan, tomato. They connect to it. So you see, so it makes people feel good to not just eat better, but to know where the food comes from.
With a goal of helping 100,000 farmers become sustainable and debt-free by 2030, Rural Rising reflects the Filipino spirit of bayanihan, bringing communities together to support those who feed the nation.
Bayanihan, that's right. After the pandemic, we wanted to stop because we think, okay, it's done. The pandemic was the problem. But we realized the pandemic was not the problem of the farmers. It's still the same. It's the same market forces. It's the same middleman system that defeats them. And more importantly, the members say, saan kami kukuha ng gulay if you stop being Rural Rising? Kung wala na. And we realized we have to continue. So our goal is to create 100,000 sustainable and debt-free farmers by 2030. So we have that, the number, 100,000. Then the year 2030, which is 4 years from now, we just turned 6 today, 4 more years. And then the how. sustainable by paying them properly, the right price, debt-free, encouraging them to plant organic para they keep most of their income. It doesn't go to fertilizers. So there's that. Nakalahad. Now we have to find a million members to do it, to make 100,000 possible. So now that's the bigger challenge.
With such a huge goal, Ace is not alone in building Ruri. He is supported by his wife, Andy, as well as their daughter and son. What role does his family play in sustaining the mission, especially Andy?
She wanted to do something called Work from Home Initiative during the pandemic, and that was her passion project. Then when she saw me doing gulay naman, helping farmers, and she saw me being stressed, she said, "Ano ba yung ginagawa mo pa?" Sabi ko, "I'm buying gulay, and then I'm sending it to Manila in trucks." And then, ayun, she started helping me. And then, na-put aside yung kanyang project na work from home initiative. That was her way naman, her passion during pandemic. And then, ayun, fast forward, tinan mo to ngayon, no, with the high prices of gasolina, work from home now is the new big thing. Or what if we went that way, then you would be interviewing me about work from home initiative. So you see, parang you never know where your life will lead you, di ba? It's always circular. And this is my co-founder, so she's handling mainly yung mga logistics and talking to farmers. I write the stories and all the easy tasks, so I have a good life. Ali is a chef, so she's doing the recipe development and the soon-to-be Ruri Rescue Kitchen. So right now with the LPG supply of the country being a little bit in danger, a lot of restaurants are set to parang have difficulty sourcing the LPG. They might even close, diba? So we're thinking the Ruri Rescue Kitchen could be an alternative. So maraming ideas being thrown around during these times of difficulty. So it's the family helping. Our other daughter and son, they're also helping with the IT. So by 2030, Andy and I will really retire kasi we already retired when I was 50. So and we already took an exit and but pandemic happened, then Rural Rising happened. So 10 years later, in 2030, I'll turn 60, Ruri will turn 10. We'll turn over everything to the children, three of them. Now it will depend on them where they want to take it. Will they focus on retail? Will they focus on production, or will they focus on rescue buy? It's up to them. We will not intervene kasi it's their life too. So kami naman ni Andy will run Kamingan, another accidental advocacy. It's a conservation for eagles, the forest, and water.
Helping others is at the heart of Rural Rising. But it is not a walk in the park. It demands real work, real action, and comes with real challenges. What keeps them going through it all?
What keeps us going? It's probably the fact that you never know when life is gonna end. I have this little quote which I'm gonna read to you. It goes like this, and this is what motivates us to try very hard every day because you never know when it's gonna stop. It goes like this: Your death will come on an ordinary day in the middle of unfinished plans, and the world will continue without you. And if you think of it that way, you kind of start to panic a little and say, "Oo nga, I'm not gonna die when everything is finished and I'm a success. I'm gonna die when there's an important project and I'm working hard. And so I must work hard every day and make this the best day of all the days because it could be the last." So for me, what keeps me going is that life is so fragile, and I wish that we discovered rural rising or agriculture discovered us 20 years ago. When imagine if we could have done this in the 6 years of Ruri, what more if we were doing this longer? Siguro there would be more farmers. We could have created something even more meaningful. And perhaps in our little way, we could have our dream of Kwan. 100,000 farmers already at hand. So, yun lang. That's what keep us going. The fact that you can do so little or you can do so much, it is your choice.
As community pantries re-emerged through volunteer efforts, Rural Rising stepped in, supplying fresh farm produce to initiatives in Quezon City.
The honor and the recognition goes to Patricia Non, was the organizer and creator of the Community Pantry PH. So we're merely contributing vegetables to her pantries or whichever pantry comes to us for help. So we are supporting the idea na something like that can be powerful. People can give without being asked, and that people who need can go there and get. Very noble. All the honor goes and all the kudos goes to Patricia for that. We're happy to support her because we have the vegetables from our farmers. Parang sobrang win-win ba? You have something to give and then there are people needing it. Sobrang win. I mean, what better way to give rescue vegetables than to people who really need it? Our drivers right now, they're really the most affected because of the price ng gasoline. So they deserve all the vegetables their families can eat right now, difficult times. I saw something on social media about this driver who's actually shifted to selling vegetables from his jeepney. He was selling vegetables. And I go like, ang galing. Filipinos will always find a way to survive. They're resilient. So instead of magpapasada maghapon, takes home 200 pesos. Now, he's now selling vegetables. And ang galing lang.
From farms to communities. One of Rural Rising Philippines' key initiatives is the Ruri Pop-Up Market or Ruri Pop. How is it planned and executed? And how do they decide where to go next?
People ask us to go to them for Ruri Pop. Cute ng name lang, Ruri Pop. Pop-up. So a school or a company, and these schools wish to parang teach their student the narrative of helping farmers. Our companies naman, their CSR. So we asked them to host a Ruri Pop. It's essentially, I asked them to pay for the gasoline and the driver and the toll fees to go to different farmer clusters to get mais and cabbages and anything from three provinces, Pangasinan, Benguet, Nueva Vizcaya, and then pabalik pala sa Nueva Ecija. That's four provinces. When it comes back, may laman yung truck, 1.5 tons of produce. We bring it to the company, and then we sell those produce mainly for 99 per kilo. Panalo everyone. And then because they paid for the fuel, everything goes to the farmer na, wala nang cost. So panalo everyone. And then we do that with people who ask. So we're able to go. Now imagine if we now use another resource. It's called Gcash. So we are happily now on the Gcash platform. On Gcash, there's a small tab there that's called Food Hub. It's like Grab or Food Panda. And then if we activate that, people within 6 kilometers of where we are can find us on the Gcash platform. So Gcash essentially becomes a new marketplace. So imagine if we have the Ruri Pop and we say we're gonna park this, let's say in the middle of a plaza, let's say Angeles, or let's say somewhere in Manila, and we activate the Gcash platform to say we're there, and people start buying. Then we can deliver within a 6 kilometer radius ng gulay from where we park. And because now we're working with a company called EcoMove, which is actually the bicycle delivery company, 6 kilometers is their maximum range. Now, this bicycle company can deliver gulay within 6 kilometers in a without using gasoline, which actually helps us now in our current crisis. Some of these bicycle riders are actually jobless jeepney drivers who own bicycles. Nakakapasada sila. It just makes sense to connect all the dots, farmers, buyers, riders, Gcash, in order to find practical solutions. So, ayun, we don't choose where we go. We wait for people to invite us and we tailor a solution for them to bring produce and buyer together.
They mount an average of 2 Ruri Pops in a month, covering various locations.
To a month, a minimum. After next week, we're doing one in Kamuning with the Kamuning First Baptist Church. And then we're also doing one in UP Diliman for the fun run for CCAP. It's the Call Center Association of the Philippines. They have a fun run there, so we're doing a pop-up. We just did one for the GCash run in Ayala. So, ayan, those are our scheduled pop-ups with more in the pipeline. We're very open to do it. It's very fun because you get to meet other communities. And they have brilliant ideas na magugulat ka. Uy, ang galing na naisip nila and we're just happy to support their ideas.
These pop-up markets benefit both farmers and consumers. What drives the popularity and success of Ruri Pop?
It sells the opportunity to help. And that is the most precious commodity right now.
ACE incorporates gamified elements into their initiatives, such as Box All You Can. What began as a fun activity has since evolved into a form of charity, as some participants choose to donate their boxes to those who need them most, but cannot afford to buy as much produce.
Box All You Can is actually gamified helping. That's how we call it. So you put mga 30 tons of vegetables assorted, at least 30 different varieties in a central space. Kung sa mall, it's in their activity area. And then we sell empty boxes. The boxes are 10 by 12 by 8. So it's enough to fit up to 20 kilos of vegetables kung hindi ka stressed and marunong kang magsiksik. We'll give you 7 minutes to run into the space with 20 other people. Na sumisigaw ako, bilisan nyo, you have 5 minutes, you have 2 minutes. Alright, don't forget to get the vegetables first. And then, pagdating ng 7 minutes time, you have to leave the area, finish or not finish. Na kailangan mo idaan sa isang pangkalos, which is as high as your box. Which means kung haphazard ka naglagay, we're gonna pull vegetables out of the box and you feel very sad. But you're still very happy kasi still, you'll get the price that you paid, $8.99. Gamified, stressful shopping. And people love it. May music, may sigawan, may agawan, may iyakan, may tawanan. Whole families can play. And then, it's very fun. Very Gen Z. The beautiful part is that what happened was that this is something completely unexpected. At the Labang Town Center, we had the very first Box All You Can. One member came up to me and said, I bought a box, empty siya, but I don't want to play. I want you to let one of the guards play. So I put donation, the word donation on the box. I placed it in front. And I told everyone lined up who were ready to play and said, this box is for donation. It was given by a kind lady. I'm going to place it here. Baka dumami. And then people started coming up to the box and putting their own boxes on top of it and saying, I want to donate my box. I don't want to play it in. And then suddenly, we were building a tower of boxes na puro for donation. Not just on one side, but on the other side. So on the last hour of that day of Box All You Can, there's a video of it. We let all the guards play, all the manong janitors. We even took Lalamove drivers who were there in the mall, naka-uniform Lalamove. We lined them up with the boxes that says donation, and we let them play. But this time, we took away the pangkalos table and we let them load as much as they can in the box. It was wonderful. So that has become our tradition to sell the boxes for donation too. So at the end of the game, we let people pay. And then, may excess vegetables pa, we bring the vegetables and the boxes to the streets. And then we look for street dwellers and we give that to. That's the street edition. So grabe nagre-ripple siya. Yung goodwill, saka yung happiness, nagre-ripple far beyond. People really want to help. And if you tap into that, it's a wellspring of kindness. And then I call it the kindness industry, this industry we're in. So it's not vegetables anymore, it's kindness.
Beyond supporting farmers and consumers, Rural Rising Philippines also extends help to animal shelters. Ace also shares the story of Ahon Tubig, an initiative in partnership with Manila Water Foundation that brought a reliable water source to farming communities in Nueva Ecija. Through the installation of pipes from a spring, clean water now reaches more vegetable farmers in Gabaldon, helping irrigate their land and sustain their livelihoods.
That's beautiful. So, remember I was telling you about being in the right place at the right time. You never know who you're gonna talk to, who's gonna help you. So the bigger story or the other story to that in Manila Water was that in Baguio City we own a co-working space with a coffee shop. It's called Calle Uno. This is where we started. We still own it. And then that was during the pandemic, may rural rising there. Then the ambassador of Australia to the Philippines, his name is Stephen Robinson. He was in Baguio City to have a meeting with the mayor and the governor. For some reason, he told his military escorts, I want to go to a good coffee shop. And they brought him to Calle Uno, our coffee shop. And there he was in the parking lot, yung kanyang Land Cruiser with the Australian flag on it, ambassador. And when I saw that he was there, I approached him. I said, good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. My name is Ace. I own the place. Welcome. I said, it's a very nice place. Sabi niya, Mr. Ambassador, can I elevator pitch you? You know the elevator pitch, right? You ride with the CEO at the top floor. You have 30 seconds before the elevator reaches the ground floor. You have to be succinct. You have to be able to state your case and really convince him on something. I did that. I elevator pitched him about the need of farmers in Kamingan for water so they can plant, so I can buy. And I am hoping you would help my country. Help me help my country. At the end of my elevator pitch, he was smiling and he gave me his card. And I said, email me. That was his personal email. So that evening, I poured my heart out into an email, a very long email with pictures, and my ask for a water tank so we can gather water from the mountain. So I can give it to the farmers so they can plant, so I can buy. The title of my email was Elevator Pitch, Full Version. And 1 year later, he gave us 1 million pesos from something called the Direct Aid Program. And from that 1 million pesos, we were able to build a water tank. And then we put that out that we had a water tank, but we needed hoses. And then Manila Water saw it, and they gave us hoses. And now we're happy to report na tumatakbo na yung water project natin dun sa Gabaldon, Nueva Ecija. We're able to gather water and distribute it to farmers that need it. So you never know who listens and who will help.
Looking ahead, the question is not only growth but sustainability.
Become the biggest community-supported agriculture organization in the world. Right now, we have about less than 10,000 subscriptions for Harvest of Hope, which means that 10,000 limits the number of farmers we can tap to grow produce regularly for us. Imagine if we have 10 times that. So those are families directly subscribe to 400 pesos every month, or companies subscribe to that. Then imagine how many farmers that is helping. It's very real. And we wish for that so that we can create 100,000 farmers who are sustainable and debt-free by 2030.
How can more people become part of the solution?
Join the group, of course, Rural Rising, and see what stories they can support, which farmers they can help, and of course, be more aware of what's local, diba? So you buy that, whether through Rural Rising or not. Ang dami ibang groups that are selling local vegetables online, and they also have stores. Support them. And these are coming from farmers. Siguro what we need to recognize is that if we don't help our farmers, we are not helping ourselves right now.
As energy costs continue to shape how food moves from farm to table, initiatives like Rural Rising Philippines prove that solutions can start from the ground up. By connecting farmers directly to communities, they are helping build a more sustainable and resilient future. Rural Rising Philippines is proof that advocacy can feed both livelihoods and hope. I'm Rochelle Rubio. Till the next episode of The Advocates, right here on Capital 104.3.
This is where the voices of the voiceless are heard. The Advocates, Empowering Voices. Hosted by Rochelle Rubio on Capital 104.3